We're going to look at a few state-sponsored and cybercrime case studies specifically, dive into a few of them in detail, and go over how these are being used in the wild, if they're successful, if they're not successful. So starting with our first one, we're going to actually look at a group called Specter. And so they are a hacking group that's aligned with, I believe, it's corporate espionage based out of China. And here they've done a few things with ChatGPT. The first being they're debugging and developing their. You'll see that in this email, there's a zip attachment included. If you open that, it actually has the Sugar Ghost remote access tool, which the hackers are going to use to hostily take over the machine. And they're also looking up into ChatGPT how they can evade detection from basic, the standard endpoint detection and response systems. And then finally, just crafting the spear phishing content. They're very well articulated in this email, saying that they're a loyal user, they're having some trouble with the platform, and that they want some assistance, and that they've included some information here on how they could, help resolve it. And since this is going to a developer, if you're a developer and someone sends you a zipped file with some code in it, maybe some notes like a README, it wouldn't be that bizarre to see this, and then your whole job is to debug and make the software better. If you have something that's going to solve that bug just a little bit faster, you're going to be a little bit more inclined to click on that. So the Specter group was actually very intelligent and purposeful with how they crafted the spear phishing attempt and how they're attempting to take over someone's machine to steal intellectual property. And so with that, this one was thankfully it failed. They were able to recognize the threat. Nobody clicked on it. They were able to move on and just kind of recognize it, then track the group and the account for further AI espionage or other spear phishing, just malicious activity generally. Another one we're going to look at is going to be a Russia-aligned threat group known as TA499. Their specialty is in phishing, deepfakes, and spear phishing. And so what they do is they'll target high-profile individuals, businessmen, politicians, et cetera, that support Ukraine. And they're just going to look to embarrass the individual. So kind of the two-part attack here is going to be they send the spear phishing email on the left, looking to get them on a short video call, 30 minutes. And does anyone know the numbers on how long you need to record someone to make a high-fidelity deepfake of them? So the number is actually only 30 seconds. If you have 30 seconds of someone talking, that's enough to be able to effectively mimic their voice, create a deepfake out of them. And then if we look at this, these two pictures on the right, does anyone want to guess which one's the deepfake and which one's the real picture of this Ukrainian chief of staff of their army? Wild guess between the two. So the one on the right. So that's actually the real picture of him. I think that's his either LinkedIn headshot or one that you see online. The video on the left, part of their tactics and techniques are to embarrass the individual, make them say things that are somewhat believable, but still a little bit embarrassing, just to decrease their public image, try to deplatform them. So if you read the text in the YouTube video, that actually just translates to the deepfake show, where they just, once they get these people on video call, they get enough of the video content and the voice of them, they make a deepfake out of them, saying and doing these embarrassing things. So there's no financial repercussions here. It's really just about embarrassing the individual. But the fact that it's really hard to distinguish which one's the actual headshot of him, a real video of him talking, and then when you see the video of him talking as a deepfake, it's very believable and feels lifelike. So That one didn't end in as much tragedy as this last case that we're going to look into, the MGM hack, which happened in, I believe, the fall of 2023 by a group called Scattered Spider. So the first two we looked at are nation state aligned. Scattered Spider is strictly a cybercrime group, and they are a subgroup of the Black Cat ransomware gang, which sells ransomware as a service. They're really just looking to disrupt real business functions and also get money out of the organization by having them pay the ransom. Um, so this case is really interesting. We'll go through the whole attack chain here. There was some like open source intelligence done on who the correct target is. They're pulling in lots of data off the internet, crunching it down, finding the actionable points of like, what's this employee's email? Can they get their employee ID as well, their date of birth, et cetera? All things that are publicly accessible on the internet. For example, myself, you could probably find a lot about me, birthday, where I was born, et cetera, all just off Facebook alone. And not to mention all the other social media apps everyone's on, just being a person living in 2024. So once they had all of that, what the attacking group did is they called into the IT admin saying that they're swapping their phone and their SIM card in it. And what they really need this admin to do is for their work phone to swap the SIM card to be the one that the victim had to the one that the hackers had. So this attacker group, they'll have several people taking part in this scam. And once they did that, they were able to convince the employee using just standard social engineering tactics to convince them to swap the SIM. Once they did that, they were then able to initiate a voice phishing call to support. So they sounded just like the individual that they were trying to hack in the first place and impersonate. And with that, the employee ID, the email, the phone number, having everything that they need to impersonate this user successfully to the IT support, they were able to reset their MFA to now be on the new device with the new SIM. So now they have everything they need from a digital perspective to impersonate this user and trick any service that they are who they're trying to be. And we have a lot of good safeguards now, but if someone's able to be effectively tripped up into resetting these codes, that's the only thing that's digitally protecting you now. Maybe a decade and a half ago, most people only had passwords. Someone finally gets yours in a breach and they sign into your Instagram account, and that's it. But if you have multi-factor authentication, that's just one additional defense tool that's protecting you. And then, with an attack like this, where they're able to use phishing and get all these details about you from open source intelligence streams, what they're able to do is now they're effectively you. They sound like you, they have your phone number, et cetera, everything that says it's you. So what was the attacker group Scattered Spider able to do then? Access cloud services, run a memory dump on the machines, and then once they had domain credentials, they were able to have all the data out to their own systems and also encrypt all the files of all the systems on the device with their strain of ransomware that the Scattered Spider and then the parent group, Black Cat Ransomware Group, is known for. And the repercussions of this were very severe. So it was able to greatly disrupt MGM's services. If I didn't mention it before, MGM is one of the big casinos in the Las Vegas Strip. And they were able to shut down machines like the slot machines, ATMs, people even just staying in Vegas trying to get into their hotel. They can no longer tap the key to get in because all the devices and systems that controlled that had all the files encrypted and are effectively just pieces of metal at that point because you can't do anything on them. And so once they did that, the damage was done in terms of reputational harm. Everything was shut down. There was chaos. All of the employees at the casino and all of the facilities they own were scrambling to revert back to be on pen and paper. Even the hotel booking system, if you want to check into your hotel, they no longer can look you up. They're trying to find they're trying to find the pieces of paper to write things down on, try to get any information they can back out of the system so they can resume operations. But we haven't done business like that probably since the 80s or early 90s in a lot of places. And so the reputational damage is done. The financial impact of this was also very substantial. Each day they were out of service was $8.4 million burned recovering or attempting to recover, and just the business they weren't able to have inbound. And this doesn't also include the legal repercussions of this, all the lawsuits for failing to protect customer data that arise out of this. Because once they perform the memory dump, they have everything, the files are encrypted. But MGM actually decided not to pay the ransom. And with that, they paid the price in another way. And so what are our lessons learned here is really just that we need better education on employees that phishing, voice call phishing is a real threat that we're facing in 2024 and beyond, and it's only going to get better. Like we mentioned earlier, we only need 30 seconds of your voice to be able to train a convincing deep fake. So then I could call into support. If you perform a SIM swap, then you have everything that you need to impersonate somebody. So employees need to be aware of that attack. People have been saying online now, like for family members, if they try to scam on you as an individual, just have like a word that is only known between you and your families that you can use to verify your identity, since anything digitally now is kind of up in the air. MFA was, if we removed MFA here, so any enhanced authentication methods, we would have stripped the attack from 1, 2, and 3. They could have just signed in, assuming they already had the individual's credentials, which most people's are online somewhere on the dark web right now. So they would have reduced the attack chain in half. But we also need to better plan for these incidents and then continuously monitor the threat landscape and improve our reactions to them.